All right, you guys. So we have Marty Benge here. He is a very good friend of mine, uh, ex team owner who I used to ride for. This year he's looking to make a name for the Outlaws. Marty, what do you got to say about that, man?
I'm just looking forward to the 2023 season. There's a lot of big events coming up. A lot of big events for TT. Sean Robertson, he's done a really good job with the New East. Brian, Cynthia, and all of them with the East Coast. If you look at Freddie, if you follow Freddie on Facebook, man, there's a lot of TT racing going on this year. And we've been working with the guys up at Lake Sugar Tree and Birch Creek, and looking forward to the motocross thing with the quads as well this year. We've been running a lot of indoor stuff, and we hope to travel with and run a lot of motocross this year as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. You had mentioned about a lot of TT racing. Even before the pandemic, a few tracks had shut down, but there's a few that's actually come back into play, especially Black Ankle. What is your thoughts on that?
Man, I'm blown away with the amount of work that Johnny and all those guys down at Black Ankle have put into that track. I went there first of last year for the national, for the TT national, and I haven't been able to go back. They've been allowing quads on the motocross track, and I got to talk with CJ a little bit, and CJ was telling me a lot of stuff that they had going on down there. CJ come up and run one of the indoor events with us at Lake Sugar Tree, and he told me they was going to allow quads, and it was just maybe a week or so later, they had their big practice. And I've been following them, watching on their Facebook page, and watching Freddie's live videos and seeing all the stuff. Man, they've got everything down there. The trails, the motocross, they've got the kiddie track, they've got the TT stuff. I mean, they've really put it on down there. That is what we have been missing in this state for so long. And I'm glad to see that they had got everything going on down there that they've got.
Yeah. So my thoughts on that, honestly, and it was trending around back when I was signed with you. I believe it was in 2018 or 17. That's all I used to talk about was Black Ankle, because when I came into the picture, man, it just seemed like it disappeared. But
that's where we actually met at when MH had the track, and Chad and Rick had their own thing going on down there, and that's where Ben had brought you to the track. And that's where we had met, and I know that's one of your favorite places to go.
Yep. We have been through a lot together, and I think that's something that's really, truly made you a good friend of mine.
I agree.
But anyways, do you see big potential in Birch Creek?
Yes. Birch Creek as a kid, man, when I was younger, that was the place to be. AMA dropped out, and Birch Creek kind of fell off on the TT side of things. But I've spoke with some of the staff members up there, and Birch Creek's going to be huge. I tell you, I think the biggest event that I'm looking forward to is Budge Creek. I have to go back and look at the schedule. I don't think that's going to be the memorial race for Neil this year. I thought they had maybe moved that to Birch Creek, but anyhow, Budge Creek, where they held it at last year, they're having the EDT National and the MX National the same weekend. And I think that's going to be very huge. That's probably the biggest event. If I don't run no races the rest of the year, that's the race I want to go run. That one in Birch Creek.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that being said, you mentioned two different types of four-wheel racing. You got TT and then you got MX. We've tried getting some of those MX guys to try TT. We've had a couple actually join. Do you think with both of those races being scheduled the exact same weekend, do you think the turnout is going to be record-breaking?
I feel like it's going to be a good turnout. It's going to be hard to cap that 50th anniversary at Pine Lake. That 50th anniversary at Pine Lake the other year was huge, a huge turnout. I'm feeling like this is going to be as huge as that one, if not bigger. I feel like entries, I do know that, with me running the motocross scene and then me doing the monster truck shows with Randy Dinkins, I have met a lot of your motocross guys. And a lot of the motocross guys have reached out to me about rentals, wanting to rent TT bikes that weekend. So as of right now, I think I pretty much got all my bikes rented out for that weekend. A lot of guys that has called and spoke, and there's a lot of stuff depending on whether they get to ride the TT stuff. But I think there's going to be a lot of guys that's going to want to do that. And hopefully I hope that some of the TT guys reach out and say, hey man, you got a motocross bike I can ride? That way we can support the motocross scene. Quad racing for the MX has fell way off. There's Victory Sports actually dropped the quads this year. I think they said District 13 had dropped them the other year. So like the quad stuff's dying. I know that they said Cathy's Creek's going to run some of them. 221's going to run some of them. I'm looking forward to going down there. The MX scene is all new to me. I've not really done that, and I'm trying to, make the sport. And make the sport grow. It's endurance, man. Hitting them jumps and hitting the rhythm, getting the rhythm going. That's the main thing. It's a whole nother ball game. But, for instance, with me trying to make the sport grow, and this past weekend, I give a shout out to Bobby up at Horsepower Park and Paul and Kayla Strong. They built a new track up there. It's called Horsepower Park Go-Kart Track. And we went out and tested. And I had one rider that had never rode a quad before. He come out and tested. I met him actually at indoors, running motocross. Benge actually rode a full-blown TT bike this weekend. And I had Andrew that had never been on a TT track or any type of flat track bike. He come out and rode. So those motocross guys are transitioning to TT, and they're going to also run some MX this year. And when my schedule gets released, I'm just waiting on a couple more tracks to let us know as far as the Western goes. But we do plan to race 60 some races this year. We plan to try to run as many as we can. Our schedule is going to be, we're going to try to focus on, of course, the Western stuff, being that's my series. I'm going to put a lot of my time into that.
Also on that note, congratulations. What is this? Going on the 5th year of you running that? 6th year, maybe?
I think this is the 6th season, maybe. We took a couple years off, when my grandmother died. We took a couple years off, and then some stuff happened with some tracks, and then, but it's growing. I got other tracks reaching out. We are the only touring circle track series in the country. They have the nationals, but that's just 2 rounds. We go to multiple tracks, but we do have. I'm going to focus on that this year. I'm going to focus on the East Coast, and I'm going to run as many of the nationals that allows it. And I'm going to more than likely have a big support for Lake Sugar Tree and Birch Creek. And I think it's called the Moonlight Series. Just trying to get, motocross, man. If you've got a motocross quad, MX quad, man, if you got an XC quad and you want to come run some MX, man, I got tires for you. We just got to get the numbers up, or motocross is going to fall completely off for the quads. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see any, even with your motorcycles, man, I don't want to see nothing die. I want to see all these tracks succeed, because this is what we do for fun. We love this.
And, I'm not going to mention any names, but there have been a few series go head and head, scheduled on top of each other. But honestly, here lately, throughout the motocross scene, we tend to communicate with each other to try not to schedule on top of each other. And, with that being said, you got Loretta's approaching. There may be a couple guys out there in the TT that race motocross, and it's going to, take a break and possibly go to Loretta's, whatever the case may be. But I know that the ATVs run at Loretta's. Is that something that you put into thought here lately?
We've kicked it around. I know Andrew's wanting to do a lot of that. Benge's wanting to do some of it. Me and Benge sat down and had a talk the other week. Benge's got 20 years on me, but we're to the point now, man. Me and him's kind of on the page of we're worried about the future of the sport, of our race team and the sport. We're trying to build the race team and let that carry on. That's why I'm trying to work with kids and do so much with the kids. And Andrew's 21 years old, and he's at that age right now where he's fast. That kid's fast. He just out energies me, man. He's fast on a motocross track, and I think with a few laps, a few races under his belt, he'll be a contender on the TT side of things too. But it is something that we have took in consideration. It's totally up to the team what they want to do. This year, I say this every year, but I'm going to try my best to focus on just doing the mechanic work and supplying bikes. I'll ride some, but I don't know that I'm going to be as competitive that I always have been in the past, just because if it's like the Lake Sugar Tree deal or the East Coast or the New East, then I'll probably be competitive. But when it comes to some of these smaller motocross deals and some of these Western races, I doubt that I run many of them. It's exciting to me to sit there and watch my stuff go around and watch these other guys have fun and enjoy it. And,
Yeah. It's you can definitely tell that the younger generation is getting stronger as far as not only physically but mentally. I mean, for example, Hayden Deegan last night.
Yeah.
All the critics, he's 17 years old. He's not ready to go pro. I'll tell you what, I've been watching this kid for years, and my fiance, who's sitting right in front of me, she can also vouch. I pulled for this kid when that gate dropped and he got that whole shot. I'm pretty sure the whole trailer park heard me.
Yeah.
But just the age, man. I mean, I wish I was 17 again.
Yeah, I agree. If I knew the stuff that I know now when I was 17, man, I wouldn't be in the situations that I'm in. But you can't forget old Coop, man. Hometown boy, man. He Cooper Webb got it done last night. But like I said, they the future with the sport, what this whole conversation was supposed to be over. I feel like I had a long talk with the guys up at Horsepower Park last night, and a lot of people, promoter wise, a lot of them see money for themselves, how they want to make money. And I shouldn't have to take off my racers to make a living. I make a living, at my shop and my landscaping business. I don't have to make a living off of racing. And I feel like not a lot of promoters, but some, and they don't understand the concept of money, and how the money turns and where your profit is. You don't make money off the races. You don't make money off your racers. And I feel like that's where a lot of promoters kind of go wrong at times. I feel like the scheduling on top of stuff. I used to get so aggravated when people would schedule on our races, and I would try not to schedule on top of them. But certain individuals would constantly schedule on top of us. If we race, they'd hold an open practice. But the thing is, when you look at it, I don't care if you got a goat kart. I don't care if you got a lawnmower. I don't care if you got a four-wheeler, a motorcycle, a race car. If there's a racetrack open, that racer is going to go to wherever that racer wants to go race. As a promoter, you can't take your focus off of your race because this person's scheduled on top of you. You need to focus on making sure your event is the most fun, most safe, and give back more than the other guys giving back. Make your event the best event, because then when this guy schedules on top of you, the racers aren't going to go there. They're going to go to your track because that's where they're having more fun with you. So you got to make it fun. Don't make it about the money. Make it fun. Because when I literally just had the same conversation last night with Paul and Caleb at Horsepower Park, I told Paul, I said, man, when you take the fun out of racing, what are we doing? when you take the fun out of four wheelers and motorcycles and go karts, what are we doing? It's no fun no more. You got people